It sounds strange at first, but it happens more often than people expect. Some long-term prisoners feel anxious, stressed, or even resistant when release day comes. This is not about crime, it's about psychology. Today we'll explore why the human mind sometimes prefers a known cage over an unknown world. Before we begin, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment your thoughts or any related story around you, and share this with someone who enjoys psychology. Let's start. The first key idea is simple. The human brain loves predictability. Prison life is highly structured. Wake up time, meal time, movement time, sleep time, all fixed. There are rules for almost everything. While this sounds restrictive, it also removes uncertainty, and uncertainty is one of the biggest sources of stress for the mind. Outside prison, every day requires choices. What to wear, what to eat, where to go, who to trust, how to earn, how to plan. For someone who has lived years in a controlled system, this sudden flood of decisions can feel overwhelming. Structure, even when strict, can feel mentally safe. This leads to the second factor, fear of the unknown. People often think freedom always feels good, but psychologically, the unknown can feel more frightening than discomfort. Inside prison, a person knows the social rules, the risks, the environment, and the limits. Outside, the rules are not always clear. Social signals are complex, expectations are high, the pace is fast. The brain often prefers a familiar difficulty over an unfamiliar challenge. It is not logical, it is protective. It tries to reduce risk, even if that means staying in a place that is objectively worse. Another powerful factor is something psychologists call institutional dependence. When a person lives under strict systems for a long time, their habits change. They stop making independent plans. They stop setting personal schedules. They follow instructions instead of creating direction. Over time, the skill of self-management becomes weak, like a muscle that is not used. Imagine someone else deciding your daily routine for 10 or 20 years. Then suddenly, you are told, now manage everything yourself. That freedom can feel heavy instead of exciting. Some former prisoners describe this as too much space or too many choices. Next comes identity shift. Humans build identity from environment. A person starts to see themselves through the role they live in every day. Inside prison, the label prisoner becomes a central identity. It shapes behavior, expectations, and social position. Even if they dislike it, it is familiar. Outside prison, that identity disappears, but nothing replaces it immediately. This creates identity emptiness. Questions appear. Who am I now? Where do I belong? What is my role? Without a clear answer, anxiety rises. Staying where identity feels defined can feel safer than entering a world where identity feels uncertain. Social belonging also plays a role. Many people assume prison is only isolation, but inside, social systems still exist. There are groups, routines, hierarchies, and relationships. People learn how to interact within that system. They know how to read people there. They know the social language. Outside, relationships are not guaranteed. Some families disconnect. Some friends disappear. Trust is harder to rebuild. A former prisoner may expect rejection before it even happens. So the known social world inside can feel more secure than the uncertain social world outside. Now let's talk about learned helplessness. This happens when people spend long periods in situations where their choices have little effect. When actions rarely change outcomes, the brain slowly reduces initiative. It learns, my effort does not matter much. This is not laziness, it is adaptation. In strict systems, personal control is limited. Over years, motivation to take initiative can shrink. When release comes, the person is suddenly expected to take initiative in everything: job search, housing, money, relationships. But the internal drive system is out of practice, so instead of feeling energized, they feel frozen. There is also decision fatigue. Modern life requires constant decision making. Research shows that frequent decisions drain mental energy. For someone not used to daily independent choices, this mental load becomes exhausting very quickly. Even small decisions begin to feel stressful. When mental energy drops, people avoid change. Avoidance can look like unwillingness to leave. Responsibility shock is another hidden factor. Freedom comes with responsibility. Bills must be paid. Rules must be followed without supervision. Time must be managed. Mistakes have consequences. Inside prison, responsibility is limited and shared by the system. Outside, responsibility is personal and constant. Some people feel unprepared for that weight. Stigma and reintegration fear also matter. Former prisoners often expect judgment. They worry about being labeled, rejected, or denied opportunities. Job applications, housing requests, and social introductions can all feel like emotional risks. When someone expects repeated rejection, the mind may try to avoid the situation completely. If a person believes no one will accept me, then staying in a known system can feel less painful than facing repeated disappointment. Anticipated shame can be as powerful as real shame. There is also something called psychological safety versus physical freedom. Physical freedom means movement without barriers. Psychological safety means emotional predictability and reduced mental threat. Sometimes people choose psychological safety over physical freedom, even when the physical environment is worse. You can see smaller versions of this in everyday life. Some people stay in unhappy jobs because they are familiar. Some stay in unhealthy relationships because change feels scary. Some avoid new opportunities because risk feels uncomfortable. The pattern is the same, scaled differently. Long-term confinement also changes time perception. When every day follows the same pattern, time feels slower but simpler. Outside, time feels fast and fragmented. The speed of modern life, phones, traffic, noise, social media, constant updates can feel like sensory overload after years in a slower system. This intensity can be stressful. Another important point is skill gap. Society changes quickly. Technology, communication styles, work systems all evolve. Someone who has been away from society for many years may feel left behind. Simple tasks like digital forms, online applications, or modern workplace norms can feel confusing. This creates self-doubt. Self-doubt reduces willingness to step forward. Support systems make a huge difference here. Prisoners who have structured reintegration programs, counseling, job training, and community support adjust much better. Those without support face higher stress and higher fear. The presence or absence of guidance often decides whether freedom feels hopeful or frightening. We should also understand emotional conditioning. When a person survives in a strict environment, they develop coping behaviors that fit that place. Those behaviors may not work outside. When old coping tools fail, stress increases. Until new coping skills are learned, the person feels unstable. Importantly, not wanting to leave does not mean someone loves prison. It often means they fear instability more than they dislike confinement. It is about relative safety, not preference. Human psychology is deeply adaptive. We adjust to environments more than we realize. What feels unbearable at first can become normal later, and what feels normal can start to feel necessary. That is the power and the danger of adaptation. When prisoners hesitate to leave, it is not about loving confinement. It is about how deeply the mind adapts to structure, predictability, and identity. Freedom is not only physical, it is psychological, and the mind needs time and support to adjust. Understanding this helps us see behavior with more depth and less judgment. If this made you think differently, like the video, subscribe for more psychology stories, share it, and comment your thoughts. Thanks for watching.